Revolutionary rhetoric has significantly shaped Latin American socio-political landscapes, particularly regarding women's contributions and struggles. Latin American women have been central in revolutionary movements, using rhetoric for mobilization and articulating their demands for equality and justice. From the powerful speech of leaders like Eva Perón to the grassroots activism of indigenous women, their voices have challenged patriarchal structures and inspired societal change. This history underscores the intersection of gender and revolutionary discourse, highlighting women's roles in the fight for the liberation of Latin America. Today, I will focus on Cuba and the Dominican Republic as examples. In Cuba, two women stand out for their contributions to women's rights, María Dámasa Jova and Vilma Espín. In this image from the book Emergiendo del Silencio, Mujeres Negras en la Historia de Cuba, we can see the picture of María Dámasa Jova. She was a pioneering Afro-Cuban educator, writer, and politician in the 1930s. She championed Afro-Cuban culture and identity with her political activism focusing on social justice and equality. Vilma Espín was a prominent Cuban feminist and revolutionary. As a key leader of the Federation of Cuban Women, she championed gender equality, education, and social reform. This photo shows the literacy brigadistas on the way to teach in rural Cuba in 1961, an event that improved countless women's lives. This cover shows material related to the idea of advancement of women's rights. Espín's legacy remains a symbol of women's empowerment and her efforts to create a more inclusive society. Through the Cuban Revolution, significant strides were made to enhance women's rights and gender equality. This photograph shows an early experience of women participating in the rebuilding of a shanty town in Santiago de Cuba. These policies increase women's involvement in education, employment, and politics, which is reflected in these covers, creating greater opportunities for women in Cuban society. In the Dominican Republic, the struggle for women's rights followed a different but equally vital trajectory. The Dominican feminist action spearheaded the early development of women's rights, leading to Dominican women winning the right to vote in 1942. In the late 1970s, a feminist movement consolidated around diverse objectives, as we can see in this report, drawing on mid-1960s anti-imperial and anti-occupation struggles. The legacy of authoritarian rule is reflected in this printout. This movement, centered on transitioning out of authoritarianism, was influential regionally and globally, finding a voice through publications like Revista Quehaceres. Mujeres de Mineros documented the experience of miners' partners, often ignored and forgotten. Despite being neglected in scholarly and popular narratives, these movements created crucial spaces for feminist advocacy. They served as key models for the larger Latin American struggle for women's rights and lead to conferences like 500 Years of Patriarchy as part of the commemoration of the arrival of Christopher Columbus to America. They highlight the post-dictatorial challenge feminists face across the Global South and underscore the importance of the Dominican Republic and Cuba in the broader Latin American and Caribbean feminist movements. In books like From Sugar to Revolution, the revolutionary rhetoric and activism of women in Cuba and the Dominican Republic demonstrate the powerful role women have played and continue to play in the fight for equality and justice. Their legacy inspires ongoing efforts to achieve true liberation and empowerment across Latin America. The Sena House Library has a wealth of material about women's struggles and women's movements in Latin America, encompassing modern printed collections, special collections, and archives, and they are all accessible for research.